I'm really enjoying the Swedish currently. I've got back into the Spanish and I'm also looking forward to getting back into studying Japanese. Currently I am studying regularly and I am enjoying it, but it still feels a little bit aimless. After watching other people study with me videos, I've decided to create a weekly timetable for my languages. Within that timetable, I'm looking to assign one language per day as a focal point, but also have a bare minimum that I study through all of the languages. I'll explain a little bit more what I mean by that as we go along. So as for what days I focus on each language, I'm looking at Spanish for Mondays, Swedish for Tuesdays, Japanese for Wednesdays, Spanish again on Thursday, Swedish again on Friday, and followed by Japanese on Saturday again. That leaves Sunday kind of free for me, which doesn't mean that I won't be studying. It means I can either try out new languages, try and reignite pre-existing languages like Korean or German, or just refocus on one of the other languages, so Spanish, Swedish, or Japanese. So if there's something that I've done during the week that I want to put a bit more focus on, I've got that day free. So along with the assigned language to each day, I also want to have a bare minimum that I study for other languages as well. I want to incorporate at least doing some vocabulary each day. So what my plan is to study Swedish and Spanish using Memrise, which I've already started with Swedish. And what I will do is keep my words reviewed. If you've used Memrise before, you'll know that once you've learned words, there will be recommended to you to review after a certain amount of time using a spaced repetition system. So what I'll be aiming to do is keep that up to date, so not have any reviews by the end of each day. So that shouldn't be too overwhelming and it shouldn't take too long. So the other thing I'm also looking to do is keep my Spanish streak on Duolingo going. Currently it's not going, but what I want to do is do the minimum of 5 lessons per day. So again, even if I'm studying Japanese, do those 5 lessons of Spanish. Even if I'm studying Swedish, do those 5 lessons of Spanish. This may sound quite time consuming, but it's actually not that bad in reality. It's a few hours per day, but I'm a part-time student, so I have time to dedicate to that. So with Spanish, as I said, my focus is kind of around carrying on with Duolingo and keeping the streak going. I also want to accompany that with vocabulary building using Memrise. And finally, I'm still looking for a grammar source to learn grammar a bit more formally. Whether that be in the form of a cheat sheet, an ebook, a textbook, like a PDF I can find online, or if that means going out and buying a textbook. Either way, I want to get the fundamentals down of the Spanish grammar. I also want to be using LINK to read a bit more, just to get a feel for sentence structure, a bit more in context. With Swedish, I want to continue using the complete Swedish textbook, which I did in my previous Swedish study with me, and I'm aiming to do at least 1 chapter per week. The chapters are quite long, but with those 2 days assigned, yeah, like that's plenty of time. And also, I want to couple that again with Memrise for vocabulary. Just like Spanish, with the Swedish I also want to use LINK for more reading. Using the beginner lessons, of course, for the moment, but make that not a daily thing, but at least on the assigned Swedish days. With Japanese, I want to be using LINK to read news articles. If I can do 1 article per assigned day, so that will mean 2 articles per week, and if I want to do more on the free day I can. Also, I want to incorporate randomized grammar, and what I mean by that is I've downloaded a randomizing app, and basically you can enter a list of terms. So what I'll do, I'll enter the list of terms using this grammar dictionary, and then I'll randomly assign grammar terms that I will then build sentences out of. What I'll use is Lang8, which is a website which you can submit written compositions and they can be marked by native speakers and corrected. So what I will do is pick out, say, 10 grammar points out of the... I'm using the basic Japanese grammar dictionary at the moment because that's the one I have with me at uni. But don't let the basic fool you, it's not actually that simple. It kind of goes from beginners to around about intermediate level. But it's a solid book, and it has well over 100 grammar points, I think. So what I'll do is maybe assign 10 grammar points per day, and then create sentences using them. Like, this is something that I need to do for Japanese, which is a bit more written composition. I can do the reading, I can do the listening, but actually creating the language is something I want to do a bit more of. Like, speaking wise, it's very easy to not necessarily be all that accurate. But with written language and getting it corrected by native speakers, it will improve my accuracy. So that's what I'm aiming for with Japanese. Pushing that from kind of intermediate more to advanced. It's quite daunting to take on this kind of strict schedule, but I think it will be, one thing, worth it, but also it's very, very achievable if I want it to happen. And if I do this, I feel that all of the languages that I apply this to will improve very, very quickly in comparison to they are now. A lot of it's currently 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I study a bit, learn a bit, but then quickly forget it and then have to relearn it. Instead of keep doing that, I can actually build on what I know and try and improve, not necessarily as quickly as possible, but as effectively and efficiently as possible. So yeah, that's the plan from tomorrow, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should give me a bit more structure, and yeah, it should lead to more improvement within my languages. And it also means that I can reintroduce Japanese, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, so starting first thing tomorrow, so wish me luck and see you next time.